So, a couple things to talk about. This one's probably going to be pretty fast. As I told you guys quite a few streams ago, I really enjoyed King of Fighters, and I really wanted to try and dig into it. I had a real itch. Right now, my back is itchy, but I had a real itch to play some fighting games, and I was really digging King of Fighters. It actually felt good. I really liked Terry. Terry and Rock are like pretty high tier. They're not exactly top tier, but they're up there, and it feels good. It feels good. They're my favorite characters, and I like them a lot. And then third with Ryo, like I'm learning how to do stuff with them, and I'm not doing very good, but I like sticking with them. So it was a fun team, but I was having the world's hardest time trying to get any matches going through the game, and I think it's just at the time I really didn't know what was happening. I heard rumors that there was a matchmaking problem, but it hasn't really been talked about by a lot of people. Not a whole lot of people mentioned it. And, there's threads here and there, but, honestly, if you look up a problem with just about any game, there will be threads related like, this game crashes a lot, or this game, told my mom she's ugly. It doesn't really seem to matter what game you're working with. If you look up a problem, the internet has a thread or two about it, right? So it's always been kind of murky. Is there a problem with King of Fighters matchmaking, or is there not? Is it fine? So I tried playing it, I guess maybe like a week or so ago, and I definitely had a less than favorable experience. This was the stream, and let's see here. I did a bunch of talking. I queue up here, so 42. So it took about 10 minutes for me to match with somebody online, about 10 minutes, and I also had to switch into this training mode here where you're like queued up in this instance here. And then it finally gave me somebody. Unfortunately, this was the result. This was the resulting match that it finally gave me somebody after 10 minutes of waiting. Look at this frame rate is jumping all over the place. This rollback frame is going everywhere, and the milliseconds aren't so bad, but the frame rate is jumping everywhere. It's almost like there's a disconnect or something, like a sync issue. Suffice to say, it really sucked. It was a very unenjoyable match, full of lag and inability to do just about anything. Eventually, that went through, and then I started hanging out, and I wasted it looks like about another 10 to 15 minutes trying to do a more connection, sitting in training mode. So eventually I gave up. So after 25, 30 minutes of trying to wait and get a match, I got one match, and that's the one it was. So eventually my good old pal Insiferian came in here and saved the day. Ran smooth as butter. I mean, it just had maybe one or two matches where the lag was really fucking with me and I couldn't jump over fireballs. Could have been me, could have been the lag, who fucking knows. But as far as I'm concerned, really solid matches. And I had a lot of fun. So that prompted me, having a lot of fun, to go snoop around on the internet. And lo and behold, this guy throws out this tweet, is King of Fighters matchmaking still broken? And he made an entire website off the question. So now you can go review if King of Fighters matchmaking is still broken on an entire website. This is the definitive, the be-all, it's all. There's a problem. There's a problem with King of Fighters. So what I experienced isn't a unique experience. It's not something that's just on console. It happens on PC as well. And apparently it's very normal for a lot of people. You can read this whole thing if you want. I won't bother going through it because there is quite a bit here, but essentially what it's trying to say is that there is a problem with matchmaking. Nobody seems to understand what the issue is, but it is the matchmaking specifically. It's not really the connection quality. Rollback is kind of a popular thing right now, so a lot of people want to see the results of rollback being implemented in games. So that's a lot of people are kind of wondering if it's rollback's fault. It's not rollback's fault. It has nothing to do with matchmaking part. The matchmaking is its own separate mechanical thing. It is apparently not working. I thought at one point it is perhaps a low player count, but no, it is not at all. There's at least on Steam version, you've got 1,500 users. That's a pretty healthy number for fighting games. That's not typical. Fighting games really, like Tekken has like 2,000 or 3,000. Street Fighter V has like 2,000. And I think even something like Melty Blood has maybe almost 1,000. I think Strive might be doing the best. Other than Tekken 7, Strive has like 2,000 or something like that. There's 1,500 users is definitely on the lower end, but it is not low compared to fighting games. This is a pretty healthy number of people. And no, they're not all playing online, but given this number, it's not much lower than all the others. So it's not a player count thing. It's not a region thing. It's not a player count thing. There is something wrong with the matchmaking, apparently. So this thing goes pretty crazy. It gets really deep. What is said and done? They really apparently haven't said or done much, I guess. Yeah, lots of questions, lots of things like that. Basically, people put this together for a particular reason. Can you do room matchmaking? It appears that the room finder is also broken, so that's a problem. I have been playing KOF. I had no issues finding matches. Unfortunately, this is not a major part of the player base and has the chance to experience. Most of us are not making up this matchmaking problem. Yeah, so apparently it is something that some people are not affected by it and they're doing okay. But I was one of those people affected by this, and I was affected by it the last time I played the game before Elden Ring came out. So, there you go. There's a matchmaking issue, and it's been around for many, many days. 72 days now. And SNK has not communicated very much. According to this thing, it looks like they just haven't really said or done all that much. They acknowledged that it was a problem at one point, and they were starting to ask for certain technical info, but that's about it. This is the last update regarding what we ever got, and it's been over a month. So, I don't know if King of Fighters is dead. You know, this is one of those things where it's like, you know, I have to be open and honest, right? I spent $60 on this game. In addition to it, I bought the season pass. I figure it's a fighting game. I like fighting games. I'm generally pretty happy buying them, even if I end up not playing them for too long. I got a couple of days out of King of Fighters right before Elden Ring dropped. Once that dropped, everything died. Elden Ring is pretty much everyone's lifeblood in terms of video games, and still kind of is, even after all this time. And I have to say, if I was a normal individual that was not so video game minded and had to be more cautious with his spending and stuff like that, this would have been a really bad investment. I don't know how else to splice it. I mean, if you're playing any fighting game, you have to go online. Unless you're really lucky and you can play offline, I just don't know how you can get away with not playing online. It just doesn't really work. You got to engage with people. You got to mess around. You got to figure out the system, you know? And if you're into fighting games the way that, you know, traditionally you are supposed to get, you're going to want to get better. And online is necessary to get better. And it's a long grind. It takes forever. And I am pretty well convinced you have to have a certain level of autism to really get into it. But regardless of all that, I think fighting games are fun. And even with those things ticked off, even with those requirements hit, King of Fighters is not going to be a good title for you because you just can't get online and do stuff. So, yeah, pretty sad. I really liked King of Fighters. I thought it was very fun. I enjoy it. I still enjoy it. I would love to see it get fixed. I'd love it very much if it got fixed. I think that would be cool. I wanted to mention this because it's just one of those things that isn't really talked about a whole lot. It did affect me. I just want to put my voice out there. On the pile, at this point, there's more than enough evidence that there is an issue. I just showed my video of how long it took me to get that one really awful match. Open region, all that stuff, no problems. I even went into the training mode to see if that would help. You know, I was hearing a lot of excuses and reasons as to why this is working, and you should just play. But at this point, this is a reason why you would not want to just play. You know, it's not going to get better. It's not going to get better. And the only way that you can really enjoy the game right now is if you find dedicated friends that you can hook up with and reliably play, which is an option. But I think for most of us, we don't want to go into random Discords and fight, you know, random people through Discords and beg people for challenges and invites and stuff of that nature. We just want to be able to load the game, hit the matchmaking button, and have it do its job, which it's not currently doing. So yeah, that sucks. I really like King of Fighters. I think it's fun.